Hey, Jay Massey here with the CashflowDiary.com with another quick tip about real estate and business. Today I'm going to share with you, how to avoid a very common mistake we make during negotiations in a real estate deal. Okay, so you found the property, it looks good, you've run some basic math, and it's passed your initial, we'll call it go, no-go test. One of those simple tests that I use is as follows. I like to look at the purchase price of the property and multiply that by 1.5%, and so long as the monthly rent is greater than or equal to this number, it's a go decision for me. That's simple. That's a simple go. And if it's less than that, it's obviously a no-go, right? But what happens when you're in the process and it passes this, you get the property under contract and you begin to have some issues. Or maybe you don't even get the property under contract. Or maybe you're looking at a business and you're looking at it and it passes your initial inspection. What is that common mistake that I've seen many people, including myself, make, especially when you get started? There's one thing that we tend to overlook, and we try to skip it all the time. We forget that the seller is a part of the transaction, especially when it comes to real estate or buying a business or even starting a business or our vendors. How we treat the seller, how the seller is, I'll say their demeanor, how they come off makes a challenge. I was recently helping one of my coaching clients, and they were in the process of, they've got a decent enough property, but when they walked through the door, the seller on the other end specifically said, look, this is what I want. I'm not taking anything less, so any offers less than this make no sense, and I want all cash. And it's just like, okay, well, hi. One of the most common things that we forget sometimes is to evaluate the seller. Because later when we were doing our debrief, what she wanted to know was, how could she make this deal work? And I'm like, you can't. Even though it fits the numbers, even though all these other things are there, yes, you finally made it into the house, finally made it into the property, and the seller finally met you, and this is as far as you've made it, you've got a fundamental problem. The fundamental problem is the person on the other end of the transaction isn't really willing to deal with you in any way, shape, or form. And when you have someone that's obstinate in the transaction, that could totally kill the deal. Now, that's not to say that, they're asking too much for the property, but if you understand business, things go awry during the process of actually executing the contract. And you need to have a person who understands that. You need to have a person you can talk to, and to have an amicable and mutually beneficial and uplifting relationship that helps people move forward. At the end of the day, don't forget the seller. You can run the numbers all you want, and it looks good on paper, but if for some reason the seller is uncooperative or not willing to help you, or at least give you the information you need, then you can't do the deal. Because that's another way that the seller gets in the way is, you need to know a certain piece of information, but they don't want to share it with you. That's also an indication occasionally that the problem just isn't big enough. You're not solving a big enough problem. They're not in enough pain to actually want to do business now and with you, and in the manner with which that you need them to do business, or they may not be the right person to talk to, and they don't even have the authority to do business. But these are all things that you learn as you continue to go through the process of negotiating many, many, many different transactions. And I just hope that now you'll ask more questions of the seller. If you like information like this, feel free to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Until then, I'll talk to you next time.